Are we live?
Yes,
There we
we
go.
are. What's going on, Skull brother? Our guy Darren is not here at the moment. He's got a fine young lady coming through tonight, so we told him to take the night off. I know a Packer fan wouldn't know nothing about that, but let's stick to it.
Whoa, okay. Let's just stick to football here.
Let's just stick to football, my guy. That is just a little opening joke. I love the Packer fans, not really, but I just want to throw a few topics at you, man. I named it tonight. Correct me if I'm wrong. And down the line, I was just gonna throw out a few skill positions as coaching positions, and I know it all doesn't make much of nothing until we put this together. But I feel, man, that our GM has given us the right to talk a little shit before this shit unplays, and I feel we'll get into it a little later that Jason McCarthy, even though he will have his rookie struggles like all rookies, he's in the best situation to do it. I'm gonna start it off, Colin, just by me and just as me and you. Who is your real dark horse for the Vikings this year? A guy that he might be a little known, but he's not really expected to do much. But if he could somehow shine and step up, it could put us in a real good position.
I mean, the acquisition of Jordan Mason to me was such a big move, and I think anybody that knows football knows that that was a really good acquisition for a sixth round pick for a guy that nearly had 1,000 yards and was truly effective as a running back. I like him. I think also Donovan Jackson as a first round pick. I think I'm really interested to see how he melds together with the rest of the offensive line. I think he could be one. Another really underrated move that we made this week is re-signing Josh Oliver. I'd really like to see us use him a little bit more because I feel like he has a skill set that's been kind of untapped. I think he catches the ball well. He's a really athletic guy. And I think with him having been in that Baltimore tight end room with Lively and with Andrews, I feel like
Ooh.
he's a guy that I feel like could definitely step up and help out a little bit with Hawkinson's side because truly with JJ McCarthy, they really set him up for success by shoring up the offensive line. And I think for a rookie quarterback, nothing is better to me more than having a good running game and having good tight ends who can catch the ball. This isn't even talking about
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, this Ty Felton kid,
just
Rondale
pure
Moore,
fundamentals of the
Jalen
football.
Naylor.
Yep.
It's all about getting confidence as a young quarterback. And I feel like if you have guys who are sure-handed, you don't have to necessarily throw the ball on long routes. I think having guys like that to me, that's just going to continue to build confidence for him. And if O'Connell is one person that really knows how to get the most out of a quarterback position, I think starting it out strong with that and keeping it simple for a little while, I think is going to work in their favor. And then you're going to see the big plays. You're going to see
Okay.
Jefferson. You're going
Yes,
to see
sir.
Addison. So
What's up,
I
Richard
feel
Sherman?
like that's
Let's
what's going to
see. Am I
happen.
in? Am I here?
Okay, Colin, hold on, Richard. Let me piggyback on a couple of those
Okay,
because
I'm here.
I'm right with you, Colin. And I'm thinking we had the money to have gone out and get all those other guys that were still out there. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers was practically begging us to come. There's a few other
Well,
guys out
I
there.
would have been okay with
I love our second. I like the Sam Howell edition. But to piggyback with that, yes, and I'm hoping, Colin, that Judge McCarthy, even though we obviously don't want him to get hurt, I need him to take that blind side big hit and get it out the way earlier. You know, one he's not expecting, he might even cough it up for a fumble, return for a touchdown. Vikings fans got to be patient with this guy because even though I think he's going to be the truth, I think this guy's gonna be something special. I think he's gonna be one of the better quarterbacks we've ever drafted. And I'm not bullshitting, Colin. I really believe in this kid. On one top of the fact is, everybody knows Tim Anderson.
I do too.
Every time Tim tells me a Vikings player is gonna be horrible, they usually really shine and usually do outdo it. Just off that notion. And other guys that we haven't mentioned that you just said, Colin, I want to also lean towards Isaiah Rogers and also Jeff Okuda. Now, Isaiah Rogers, I want to see because I know he couldn't get the start in Philly, but it wasn't due to the fact that he didn't have the skills. They're just so goddamn loaded every goddamn where pretty much that I'm wondering for the Vikings to give out. It wasn't big money for him to give out decent money to a guy. They had to have seen something to make them feel like is a cornerback two position and repair him with Byron Murphy. He had a good night, 7 interceptions last year, about third in the league. If he could be the cornerback two that we could expect, even if he could just match that level that Byron Murphy's giving us, that's putting us in a different stratosphere. Because I feel like we got most positions locked up on defense right now. Still questionable. I think Harrison Smith, he is getting a little older. I would love to see him sub in on like nickel linebacker packages. But with Metellus, I think he's ready to shine. I think this Theo Jackson kid has to prove himself a little bit because I think we gave him a nice bag and a nice contract. And if Jeff Okuda could somehow make the roster and get that cornerback 3 spot, and Jeff and Brian Flores could, reunite him, and he's motivated to play the Lions twice a year and shit like that. I could really see him coming on because he was already a nice run support and tackler. He was just questionable man to man. If they could get that together, along with the
Well,
pass rush
don't
we
forget
got.
about Makai Blackman too. Don't forget about
Oh,
Makai Blackman. I
we
mean,
still
he
got
was
him.
somebody. He's
coming off the injury.
coming off an injury. Makai Blackman was, I think, part of the reason why they went to veteran receivers and free agency at the end of training camp was because they lost Blackman. I think
Okay.
they really had a really high opinion of him. And don't forget about Dwight McGlothern, the undrafted rookie free agent from
Yep.
Arkansas. He
Last
was
year.
really starting to shine on special teams. So I would keep. I
Okay.
mean, I think they're. I Here's my thing. I would still like to bring in a veteran cornerback, whether it's trading for Jalen Ramsey, Jair. I don't know. I mean, I like him, and I think he would like the idea of playing
I,
twice against Green Bay, and I think having that familiarity with Green Bay would be a good move. But I think we maybe should wait a little bit on him. But to me, Jalen Ramsey
in
would
the
be somebody I would turn my
That's
attention
that,
to.
that's why I go all in for him. I'm gonna send it to Rich for a second, get his opinion on. Hey, Colin, if I was Quasi right now, I'd send whatever because he's Jalen Ramsey. He's not a free agent, is he?
No, but
I'm telling him right now. This is what I'm doing.
Miami's looking to unload him though. So
I
I
tell
think
him
you
that
could
I tell him that
possibly
I
get
take
him
his
for a
tab.
third.
We'll take his tab. We'll take that contract. We're gonna send over a third round pick, and they can have what's his name? They can have somebody like a Theo Jackson, somebody that ain't unproven, but they can have
No,
somebody.
I
They
wouldn't trade Theo,
no,
but
we gotta let them pick
no,
somebody. We gotta send a body with it, or they ain't gonna do it. Who's a body
I
that we
don't
gonna
think
let go?
so. I don't think so. I think we could trade for just a pick. I
You think
mean,
a
you
third
got to
round
look
pick?
at
What, a
where
second round
Miami is.
pick?
Third round pick. I think a third rounder, and we assume half of his contract. I mean, Miami's trying to unload contract. I think that has more to do
I
with
do it
anything is
tomorrow.
trying to unload because they literally had to pay Tua, they had to pay Waddle, and they had to pay Hill. I mean, they've
Okay.
got probably 40% of their salary is in those three guys. So Jalen Ramsey to me is a salary dump. And if you look at where the Miami Dolphins are you really competing in that division? I mean, Buffalo's probably going to win it
Shit.
again.
Hell,
You need to start
New
building up
England might chop their
assets.
ass. New
Yeah.
England's coming up fast, man. And I'm
R-
wondering, like, hey,
Rich, what do you
Richard,
think?
so what you think about that, man? I think Aaron Rodgers connected
We
to his
lost
Wi-Fi.
Rich.
Hey, so if that's the case, this is what I want. This is what we need to do then. Quesi needs to get on the phone tomorrow. Send that third or whatever for Jalen Ramsey, even if we got to take 75% of that contract, and then immediately get on the phone afterwards. If we're going to be all in, like it looks like we appear to be, we might as well go ahead and get Justin Simmons too, man. I think we got enough left to get both, and we might as well just go ahead and get that veteran there, pull them both. But I don't want if we can get Jair on some. I don't. I would that would be my last option. He would have to really be
No,
coming.
I agree.
He had to really come in inspired. And plus, man, I don't know how Jay Jefferson would feel with his son being on the same roster as him.
Yeah, I mean, it would be it would be different, but when you get in between the lines, honestly, I think that goes out the window. I think that's not an issue. I mean, if you look at the history of ex Green Bay Packers going to Minnesota,
Yeah,
they have rivalries throughout all the time, and
yeah,
you move on. It's not there's not
yeah.
much you can do.
I
I
think that's
have
a
a
lot of
feeling
reason.
Jair's going to end up in Baltimore, but that's just me. I feel like he's going to end up in Baltimore,
Okay.
but it seems like that would be a spot for him.
Her Phillies eyeing him as
But
well.
yeah, I mean, Jalen Ramsey's been healthy. I mean, that's why if I were to focus zero in on one guy, that would be him.
If I had to
But
say,
I love what the D line is doing though. I'm
I
excited
swear,
to see what Hargrave and Allen and the guy we still have Phillips.
Phillips,
I'm
and
very curious to see. And then
and
you just are shooting
yeah,
guns. Like I think adding those two guys to the defensive line as good pass rushers, and Allen's a pretty good run stopper too.
and for us to be
Feel
able
like
to switch
adding
Dallas Turner in there, Dallas Turner to be able to switch out
well
either being
Turner, Van Ginkel, and Grenard.
He can switch them either
Turner,
out.
Van
Keep
Ginkel,
them
and
fresh.
Bernard.
Switch them
I
out.
mean, you got three
Whoever needs a
guys.
breather. Whoever
Not
needs
to
a breather,
mention the kid
Colin.
they drafted.
Man.
Not to
I'm
mention the
thinking that's
kid
the only
from
thing.
Georgia that they drafted. So
That's my only concern, Colin. My main worry, and it's not the big of a worry because I know our pass rush and Brian Flores makes up for shit. I am worried about the cornerback two position, and I am worried, even though he did have a damn good year last year. We gave him a nice bet. I'm worried about Byron Murphy if he can at least repeat that and stay at that level. I don't even need him to be better than that. If I could at least keep him in that same range, I'm skeptical about him being able to repeat that, man.
well, I think Brian Murphy may have been a product of Shaq Griffin and Stephon Gilmore. You had two very experienced cornerbacks in the room.
Okay.
And for as older as they may be, and for maybe as a little bit slow foot, they still, they are a presence in the secondary. So for Byron to step up and be more of a leader in that room is going to be an interesting thing to say. I think
Okay.
Isaiah Rodgers is a really interesting corner because that was the guy who was going to bat for him the most was Brian Flores. Like he
Okay.
liked him when he was with the Colts. He's always liked Isaiah Rodgers. So I don't think that was an accident that we signed him. I think
I
that was
was
a very
wondering, Colin, because
purposeful
like
move.
he wasn't even starting last year, man. We gave him a pretty damn
Well, he was
decent
playing a lot
contract,
of
bro.
nickel. He was playing a lot of nickel though, and he really stepped up for Philly when they needed him to. He
Other than
played. He didn't
Phil.
start, but he played a lot. He played a lot for them. Well, he played with the Colts too. Remember, he was one of those guys who got snapped up in that gambling thing, and he got suspended for a year when he was with the Colts.
Oh, see, no, I
So
don't remember his name
people
with the
forget
Colts, but
that.
see, so there is. I can go
hmm
watch a little bit of film on him in the nickel with Philly, right? There is a little shit on him, so he wasn't just riding the bench the whole damn year.
No, no, no. He was
Oh,
playing. He
okay.
was playing a decent amount. I mean, they threw a lot of the young kids out there. But part of the reason why they let go of Slay is because of Cooper DeJean and Quidon Mitchell. I mean, those guys just both stepped up and became starters. I mean, Philly has had a good knack at identifying talent everywhere they go. So
Yeah.
I was big on Quidon Mitchell last year. I really liked him. If we would have drafted him, I would have been okay with that second pick. I think he was available when we took Turner, but
Okay.
either way,
Okay.
I'm fine with it. I think we need at some point we need to identify a corner in the first round again with Quasi. Maybe it'll be in this next draft. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I think we need to get a young corner. But I think we still need a veteran corner. I mean, I want to see strides from Blackman. I want to see him come back and start to kind of show some of that promise he had before he got hurt at the beginning of last year because he was starting to figure out
Yeah.
towards the second half of that
That's
season
why I
2 years
said
ago.
that too,
So
Colin. That's why I said, bro. Even though with Vikings we don't do well drafting guys that already got injury history. I'm telling you, bro. After it happened with fucking when we missed out on Kyle Hamilton when he was right there winking at us, and then we turned around and missed
that's
out
not
on
the only one we. That's not the only one we missed on. We
who's
missed
the
on
other
Jordan
man?
Davis too.
Nolan Smith was right there. There's all kind of shit going on, and I'm
Jordan.
fucking
Well, Dolan Smith was last year, but Jordan Davis that first
yeah.
year,
He's the one the year
the big
before with
D
the Georgia
tackle.
guy.
He
Yeah.
was the one. He was the one I wanted. I mean,
Oh,
Kyle Hamilton. People forget Kyle Hamilton had a broken leg when he was at the draft. He was on crutches. But Jordan Davis, that was like, oh man, that's like my Kevin Williams. That's
he was
my,
winking right. He was winking right at us
Chris
too.
Dolman.
Year
He was
before
sitting
last,
right
right?
there. Like,
Right there, right
yeah,
there.
we passed on him. We could have taken
Yeah,
him, and
Byron
I
Murphy
mean,
Jr. There's all kind of shit going on out in between his last two. So what I'm thinking is, I'm just hoping,
that first draft was terrible. That first draft by
man.
Quasi
Yeah,
was
he
awful.
sure has made up for. I'm
That was
talking
an
about that was
awful
horrible.
draft.
I
He
thought we
what
got dude.
Quasi has really been good at doing the free agency, the trading, and finding UDFA's. Like he has done he has excelled at that. So, and
The
this
way he's
Jordan
managed the
Mason
money,
trade
yeah.
was huge.
Hey, the way
Well,
he's
I
managed
mean,
the
I
money,
know
Colin.
I think Rob Brzezinski has a lot to do with that too. He's
Okay,
the big money guy with the Vikings, but he knows. I mean, he takes chance. The thing that Quasi does is he takes chances on guys who are first round or high round picks that maybe didn't do well with other teams. I mean, you can look back to Ross Blacklock. He was a first round pick. Tillery, I think, was a first round pick. So I mean, they've tried with
too many
guys that have
times.
done it. And some of them been okay, but he's got to. He's. I still think he's to be desired on drafting. And McCarthy, I mean, he could be it. I mean, I like the way he looked last year against the Raiders in that preseason game. He's spinning the ball really well, according to
Man,
sources, and camp. So I mean, if they can get it going, but again, what I'm saying is they need to dumb it down for him and get his confidence up to a maximum level. So getting that running game going is crucial.
For real,
Getting
man.
Oliver, getting Hawkinson involved is crucial because if you can start
Yes,
making those
yep.
plays to those guys, it's
But
going
you,
to
yeah, you
open it up
touched on that
wide
earlier. And
open for
I didn't
Justin Jefferson.
understand it, Colin, because when Hawk went down, he had to get involved more on the offense. And then, like, every time they went to him, he delivered. He's making the play. I'm like, damn, O'Connell, why don't you give him some more, man? I know there's a lot of
Well, if you
mouths to
look,
feed around this motherfucker.
I was at the Jacksonville game, and
Hmm.
Darnold looked like absolute horse like he looked terrible. But the guys that he was throwing it to that were effective were Hawkinson and Oliver, and
Hmm.
running backs out of the back and Akers out of the backfield. It was an ugly game to watch.
What did we win
And
at,
I think
11-7
that
or some
John
shit
Parker
like that?
Romo, I think that John Parker Romo hit 4 field goals or something. I think it was like
Yeah, it was like
12
12 to
to
7 or
7
some
or
shit,
something.
man. It was
Oh, it
horrible.
was
Like
terrible.
watching grass grow.
I couldn't believe I spent money on that. Not only that, but never go to a football game in Jacksonville. It's the worst
Hey,
stadium to get in and out of in the NFL.
hey,
It's not
I
even
heard
a
this
question.
loud. But hey, Colin, at least, in the very least, you walked out of that motherfucker with the dub. In the very least, it's one you don't talk about. You don't. You just give yourself a
Well, we were
silent
out
little
of the
pat.
stadium even before the game was done. We were out of the stadium before the game was done because it took us
Oh
so
my
long
goodness,
to get there. It was like, nope. I mean, we were
that
both me and
that
my buddy were
reminds.
looking at each other like, God, I can't believe we paid money for this. But
Do you remember
anyways,
a couple years back when we beat the Lions last second, and it was Dan Campbell? He kind of like cried a little bit on the podium. That was 2 years ago.
well, yeah, because he
Oh
missed a
my
field goal
god.
or like something happened. But
Yeah, he fucked it up, and Jared Goff. I'm talking about me and Rob were at that game. It was one of those games where it was just a horrible game to watch up close, bro.
well,
But
he turned it over a lot. But I mean, there was a
yeah,
lot of explosive plays in that game, though. So
but I
I
trusted
mean,
him,
what
bro.
was
And,
it?
and yeah,
Was it Chad Beebe who caught the game-winning touchdown? I feel like it was Chad Beebe
it was either him
who
or
caught the
what's
game-winning
that? What's
touchdown.
that guy? What's that guy we sent down to New England at first when he first left here? He he was our wide receiver 3. He thought he was gonna get paid with the Braves, the black cat. What's his name?
Oh, KJ Osborne.
I believe
KJ
it was him.
Osborne.
Yeah, I believe it was him. But so,
It might
but
have.
this,
It might have been. I
hey,
couldn't
what's
remember
up,
who it
Bob?
was,
What's
but
up, man? Let's. Kyle, so this is how I'm feeling about it, bro. This is why I'm all in with the Jalen Ramsey, even though guys are trying to tell me, man, he's just not that. He's kind of lost, or he's washed. No, he just needs that inspiration again. So just like when Cam Bynum, man, that guy, I would say about 2 seasons ago, a season and a half ago, I was about ready for them to get like, man, what is he still doing here? Put this guy on the practice squad. Brian Flores comes in, we're 31st ranked. We knocked that down to, I believe, 13th overall. Now got this for. I'm under the mind, bro, that no matter who the guy is, as long as he's just not complete chump change, if he's got the inspiration and the asset, Brian Flores can turn that guy back. I believe he would turn Jalen Ramsey back to that dog that he was like what 4 or 5 years back.
he still can play. Like I watched him with Miami last year. He didn't play bad. Like this is to me. This is
Yeah,
no.
man.
This is an upgrade from Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin to me. It's a guy who still
Yeah.
has some game left. It's similar. I mean, this is what Crazy has done though. He brought in Patrick Peterson that first year. He brought in Shaq Griffin and Gilmore. Like
Everybody thought he was washed
he
too.
brings
Yep.
in veterans. So I still think there's a path to seeing. I mean, Jair, I guess, could be one too, but Jair or Ramsey, I could see one of them being on our team.
And I believe in it, and I just really trust it to the fact. I mean, at this point, man, I gotta give him damn near. There's probably a few out there. I gotta give Brian Flores top 3 as defensive coordinator in the league right
Oh yeah.
now. Just off the
I
fact
mean,
of not
we
only
have
where
one
we
of the
were,
best coaching staffs overall. We have one of the best coaching staffs. I mean, if you
he
look
damn near
at
got the right to challenge
those
for the
two,
best.
you got yeah. I mean, you got O'Connell, you have Flores. Pretty good about Keenan McCardle, Josh McCown. Like they've got a really good staff of a lot of
Yeah,
former players,
no
but
bullshit, Colin.
experienced guys.
And I'm thinking when you compare him to other DCs around the league, other guys that are up in his echelon, when you compare rosters, bro, he's coming in here. It doesn't seem who we're playing. It's not most of these guys are big names, man, at first. Like Van Ginkel and some of these guys, they had a name already, but when they came here and got under this, now they're top of the league and shit. Now they're getting $20 million for 1 year type deals. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they fortified that interior. I mean, if you can fortify the interior, you can create pass rush. So by
No bullshit,
fortifying,
man.
by getting Hargrave, by getting having Phillips still there and having Jonathan Allen there, like you fortified that defensive line. So I know I was
Yeah.
talking to a Packers people like If we can do that and just spend the house with the linebackers, I think we'll be really solid. I think I kind of compare it to the Packers and how I've told a few of them, I'm like, listen, you guys got to take a book out of the Kansas City Chiefs. You've got Love. I mean, Love. I'm not comparing Love to Mahomes, but when you've got a guy like Tucker Kraft, who's a really good young tight end, you've got a really good run game in Josh Jacobs, good offensive line, and a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. You need to if you played like that, you're going to be fighting us for the division title and with Detroit. Like it's
They
going to
said
be a
that Aaron
brawl.
Banks guy, Colin. I don't know much about San Fran, but they said when he's
Yeah,
healthy,
the guard
when
from
they say
Notre
he's
Dame.
healthy, they said when he's healthy, that motherfucker can move bodies. They said he's gonna be a nice
He's
protection.
a huge guy. He's like
They
6'5", 6'6", like 340.
he looks like a big
Like he's a
motherfucker.
huge guy.
We're gonna have to
Yeah, he
like
came
we're
from
gonna have to
Notre. He
bum
came
rush
from
that
Notre
motherfucker.
Dame. Came from Notre Dame. The 49ers didn't want to pay him because they drafted a kid out of Kansas named Dominic Pooney, and Pooney took over his spot on the O line. So, but
Okay.
it still doesn't take away from his talent. So, I mean, you can't question Green Bay. Green Bay always has a good offensive line. So,
Yeah, they're gonna put some
you
shit
know,
together. I'm just hoping that there's still
they
lack of
will.
weapons. I'm hoping the rookie takes a little time because they got the tight ends, but on our
The
defense,
tight end's their best receiver. The tight end is their best
yeah.
receiver. He's their most
What's his
demanded
name?
receiver.
Kraft, yeah. Or maybe it's the other one.
Yes. No, it's Kraft.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
like
Musgrave's
he's a
okay.
pretty big
Musgrave's
fucking tight
okay,
end.
but Kraft to me
Which one
distanced
came from
himself from
Iowa?
everybody else.
Which one came from Iowa, bro?
I don't think either of them did.
Either
I
of them?
think Kraft. I think came from like North Dakota State or something, and Musgrave I want to say was like Wyoming. I want to say I'm not totally
Maybe
sure,
I'm getting all
but
right. Maybe am I thinking of maybe I'm thinking of that bull rusher the end they got. Maybe he from
yeah, Van Ness, Lucas
he came
Van
is that
Ness
he
is
the one
from
that came from
Iowa.
Iowa? Okay,
He
I'm
is.
getting shit all confused. Yeah, I'm not worried about him. I'm thinking, man, with Ivan Pace should be taking the next step up as well. If we got that kind of with the front seven already intact like that, with guys that we can literally switch bodies, we got so much depth to the point where Dallas Turner, I would love for him to start in some situations. I would love for him to get unleashed like middle third quarter, late third quarter when guys are starting to get a little gas. Let him come in with that speed and boost the shit, and then I'm talking about he doesn't have to make it home. Just disrupt shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would love to see is the kid they drafted out of Penn State, Kobe King, the linebacker. I would love to
Okay.
see him step up and be that first down linebacker. Him and Cashman. If those guys can hold down the fort as run stopping like linebackers, then you can throw Pace out there on third down and have him rush the passer with Grenard and Dallas Turner and Van Ginkel. Like
Answer
I
that
feel like
question right there. Answer that question right there, Colin.
Pace is such a
Answer
good
that.
pass rushing interior linebacker. That would be perfect for me.
Oh, and that brings me with another good question for you too. Answer this question first, though, Colin.
What's up? Would we have won the Super Bowl in '73 if Nate Wright hadn't fallen down?
75.
Um, I think if they would have called a penalty on Mel Blount for hitting the receiver in the helmet, I think that would have been a play. Plus, I think they had a play where they stripped the ball from Pittsburgh and they recovered it, and they said that he was down. So,
Uh,
not the Super Bowl. No, no, no. Nate Wright, that was against the Cowboys. That was the push off, the Drew Pearson push
does
off.
he had a year wrong?
Not the Super. Yeah, it wasn't the Super Bowl. That was like the division playoffs that they lost to
Okay.
Dallas.
He probably worded it a little wrong. And then I got a question for you too, kind of a throwback question, because I was told by a guy at work. He's a older Vikings head. He tells me that it wasn't just Gary Anderson's motherfucking fault for what happened in '91. He said Gary Anderson gets too much blame. He says
He does.
that he claims and he tells me, and I googled it and shit, and I went and did my research. He says that before the end of that regulation, that the Vikings had time to call one play. We had enough time to one play, one shot for the end zone, whatever it is, Hail Mary, whatever the case may be. And instead of doing that, Denny Green, I'm guessing who it was at the time, takes a
Mhm.
knee. He takes a knee.
There was more. There was more time than that. They had like a minute to
There's
go.
more than that.
Like
Oh, run
when
that through for
Atlanta
me.
scored, they had like a minute to go. And honestly, if you watch, the Gary Anderson miss. If you truly watch, if he would have kicked the ball any more to the right, it would have gotten blocked. Like if you watch the kick, he missed it to the left, but it was because Atlanta they had surged forward and made it almost impossible for him to make the kick. But yeah, they took a knee. I mean, they took a
Bro.
knee. They took a knee at the with a minute left. Like it wasn't like one play and do it. They took a knee
Colin,
with a
why the
minute
fuck
left
did
and
they
they had the
just
ball like
gun
the
for? Why didn't they
35-yard
gun
line.
for it, bro? Why didn't they just say,
You
"Fuck it,
got
man.
me.
Let's see what happens." Minneapolis Miracle
I
type shit.
still I still think historically though the team that had the better and I love that 98-99 team, but the team that was an overall better Vikings team was the one with Favre because we were more balanced
Oh
on both
nine.
sides of the
Okay.
ball. Because people forget John Randall in the game before the NFC Championship game on the last play of the game against Arizona hyperextended his left knee and he was playing at like 50% against Atlanta. Like he was our best
Mm.
defensive player, easily our
Damn.
best defensive player. I don't think. I mean, the way the Vikings won those games that year, they were winning shootouts. I mean, they were scoring 50 something points, but they were having to score a lot of points, and they created a lot of turnovers. I think Jimmy Hitchcock. I want to
Yeah.
say he led the NFL in interceptions that
But
year.
a whole minute
So
left, and you tell me with Randy Moss, there's just not no design, no hurry up, no kind of toss to the end zone. We can create
well,
up.
hey, don't forget, Randy dropped one. He
Okay.
dropped a long pass in that game that could have been big. It was very
I thought
similar
I
to the
had it all.
one.
Watched it. I think what I would have been 7 or 8 years old. That's why
Okay, well, whatever. 40
I got to
seconds,
rewatch that,
whatever.
man.
40 seconds.
But yeah, he
With the
told me
way that
40 seconds. That's enough, man.
that's still 40. That's still 40 seconds. You had literally the
And what was the score at the
historically.
time? It was
Yeah,
tied up,
it
right?
was tied. It
So
was
obviously,
tied.
if we just get in the field goal range, that's game.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do?
And
That's
they've been
crying
saying
over
Gary
spilled
Anderson
milk.
took a dive all these years. Ain't that some shit?
Blair Walsh was the one that really took a dive after he missed his
Nah,
kick.
Colin,
So
ain't
that
no. I
guy,
don't
that
think so,
guy,
bro.
oh
I don't
God,
think so,
his
bro.
career went down the toilet.
No, hey,
Blair's career went down the
no,
toilet.
Colin. If it weren't for the fact of the way shit is shaping up with Quezzy and JJ McCarthy, now we just been blessed and got lucky with the chosen one because they took Phoenix before him. If it weren't for the way shit was shaping up and the way that it smells around here, I would say that fucking curse that the Zodiac Zion killer gave us was still going. I'm gonna tell you what, bro. He didn't. I'm telling you right now, Blair Walsh for sure didn't take a dive, bro. He really just fucking choked. I
No,
swear, the
no,
moment
I'm
really
not saying
choked
he
him,
took a
bro.
dive. What I'm saying is the minute he missed that field goal, his career was done.
Man, his
Like
life
he
was almost
completely
done.
lost his coming. Yeah, he
Man, they had
lost
death
all
threats. They posted
confidence.
his address online, bro. He had to get out of town immediately. Aim
And
his
I
house,
put that
TP'd his
on
house.
Zimmer. I put that on Mike Zimmer because
I
he
do too.
didn't stick up for him. Like if you look in that game, we lost 10-9 in that game. We made 3 field goals. The person who I actually think should take more blame for that was Adrian Peterson. And I'll tell you why. Because he was trying to get more yards, and he broke to the left and completely threw Blair Walsh off of his spot for where he's going to kick the ball. If you wanted him to kick the game winning field goal, you needed the way that Blair's fade was, he needed to be on the right hash mark, not on the left one. And I don't
And
think people remember
and
that
didn't
that much because
Seattle
he
go
was
on to win it all
completely
that
on the
year?
left.
Didn't Seattle go on to win it all that year?
No, they lost
Not
to
okay. It wasn't
Carolina
that
in
year.
the
Okay,
they
okay,
lost to
okay.
Carolina in
I'm
the
telling you,
NFC
man.
Championship game.
Ain't no way in hell he's putting this together. I think kickers don't make that much. It just looks so bad because these guys are kicking so fucking good before these misses. And but the thing is, bro, it's not the pressure. And yeah, the way I think about it, yeah, Gary Anderson. If I was, man, he should have held a press conference. Like, God damn it, there needs to be more blame
He
put out.
never would. He was never like that though.
I
He
got
was
into
like
an
in his
argument with the
15th,
guy at work.
16th year.
But yeah, he knew what he was
He
talking about, man. I like no bullshit. What's up, Serial man? What's going on with you?
Oh, what's up, big bro? What's up? How y'all doing,
I
bro?
like to
Just
ask you a
chilling.
question, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Is how we're doing it tonight. Do you really feel with the Vikings updated line and just pressure, the offensive line with the Lions missing the starter and Pro Bowler, All Pro you just lost? The Lions are down about 2.5 starters. I'll just say 2.5 linemen down. Do you feel the rookies or whatever you got going can replace that? And are you feel comfortable with Jared Goff being protected, the run game, and what do you plan to do? Just on the season, how you feeling about the Lions right now and Jared Goff?
Well, I was hearing that we wasn't gonna plug a rookie into that center position. We was just gonna move Glasgow over and let Glasgow play the center. So I'm feeling pretty confident in that. I like our run game. I think our run game is going to be solid again this year. It's just how Goff takes us with, he threw 5 interceptions in one game and we won. He threw three and we lost. So it's up and down how the defense can help him out. But it's
I
gonna
feel
be
you.
a little different around here. We got a whole new offensive coordinator, whole new defensive coordinator. So we
I'm
got
so
the
mad
same
at that too,
players.
man.
We lost a couple players. I give you that, but our quarterback's the same. Our running back's the same. We tuned up a little bit on the defense. I think we'll be all right this year. I
Yes,
think we'll be all
yeah.
right.
Oh, okay. I'm with you on that, Taylor. Let me counteract that. And yes, he did, Bob. And what did Carl? He caught Carlson after one fucking game of a bad kicks, and that motherfucker
Two
went. Was it
games.
two? I'm
Yeah,
talking about
second. It
he
was the
went on
second
to
game after Green Bay,
man. He went on to break
and
records. I
he's a
think
Pro
after
Bowl
that,
kicker. He's a Pro Bowl kicker for the
and he's
Raiders. He's
still
a
going strong.
multi-time Pro Bowl kicker for the Raiders. I had a buddy of mine who's a Raiders fan. He was like, "What do you think about this Dan Carlson?" I'm like, "It's perfect because your team's not any good right now. So he's going to be kicking the ball a lot, and
And don't give me
he'll get his confidence."
don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
I mean, and
Don't
he
get me
did.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's why I'm not a GM because I was pissed because it was a bad. Did leave a bad taste in his mouth the way them kicks he missed. But I was saying it too. Like
You
I hope they
can't
kick.
cut him though.
And I
Like
was
you
saying it.
traded up for him. You can't
Kyle, I
cut
was
him.
saying
Like
it.
put
I
him
was
on the
like, man,
practice
I
squad or
hope they
something. Like,
fire this motherfucker for this. You know, I'm just a fan yelling it. I mean, sure and behold, Zimmer said,
uh,
fuck that. He fired him for real.
well,
And
I
I'm
remember
gonna
they
respond
because
to
they
Syria.
signed Dan Bailey. They signed Dan Bailey, and Bailey was a good kicker for Dallas. But I was like, you didn't have to cut him. Like
I
to
think
me, I mean,
yeah.
he's a rookie. He's a rookie kicker, and you traded up for him. Like
And like
Zimmer had
Dan,
such a short leash. Zimmer had such a short leash for kickers and young players. It was
I
disgusting.
mean, Kyle,
Now,
you
Andre,
at least gave him about a
let me
4 or
ask you a
5
question,
game
Andre.
stretch, right? You at least gave him a half a season
You
Yeah,
or
want to ask
something.
me a
Half
question?
a
yeah,
season at least. And
You want
Syria
to
yeah. No,
actually
ask
I
playing
me a
get it.
right now.
question?
I don't think the Lions
Yeah,
don't
Andre.
even they
So
don't need to be worried about that. They don't need to be worried. And I'm gonna let
no.
him respond. Hey, and you respond to Syria too. I don't think you need to be worried about no players that you're missing. Even though I think Ragnar is gonna be a big loss. That's the only player you need to be worried about. That Ben Johnson being missing. That's you need to be worried about. Even though this other guy is kind of highly decorated, you got Dan Campbell is gonna fucking handicap him. He's gonna fucking bootstrap him and say, "Listen, I'm gonna let you call a run or a pass, but it's gonna be this kind. And when I tell you to go for fourth down and it's 4th and 12 on my own 30, you're gonna do it. The offensive coordinator has no choice, bro. He has to
I
do it.
get that, but
So
it's not gonna be the offense. Everybody thinks it's gonna be the offensive
let him on,
coordinator's
guys.
playbook. It's gonna be Dan Campbell's playbook. The offensive coordinator's gonna run it. I give you that, but it's gonna be Dan Campbell's playbook. So
Well, let
it's
me
gonna
ask
be.
you a question, Andre.
That's the
Go ahead.
problem.
Let me ask you a question. How comfortable? And I think one of you guys' biggest weaknesses is a draft pick that you made last year at cornerback, Terry and Arnold. Now I know you did. I think you did a really good job at putting in DJ Reed. I thought that was a smart signing. But how much confidence do you have in Terry and Arnold? Because I felt like he was an eyesore for you guys last year. And do you feel confident in his ability? Because he got beat a lot.
He got beat a lot, and he was kind of injured too. So I think he'll improve. I think he'll improve. I don't think it was a bad pick. I just think he needs time to develop.
Yeah, I get you. And also, how confident are you that because I mean David Montgomery's getting up there in age. I mean, I'm not saying that he's regressing, but he is definitely getting up there in age. And the way that they used him as a running back in Chicago is kind of similar to how they're using him in Detroit. Do you think that Gibbs is going to get a lot more of the line share of the carries, or do you think that they're going to still do the split backfield thing?
I think they do still the split to where they share the carries.
Because I
Yeah,
feel like
I'm
Gibbs,
hoping so.
I feel like you got to give Gibbs the ball more. I think I think he is
I respect
legitimately
that. I
your
respect that.
best
I agree
offensive
with you.
weapon on your team.
I agree
I
with
think
you.
he's the best offensive player you have, and
Besides, bes-
that's
besides
including
St.
Amon.
Brown, I think St. Brown's better than him because he can get open and deeper spot
Man,
and close spots that you can't fit the ball in. Amaraw's gonna get that ball, But I feel you on Jameer Gibbs. I can't argue with that. And everybody
I
was
mean, he to
arguing.
me that's just he's such a good receiver out of the backfield. And I think that's what really has Gibbs stepping apart from where Amon was. And that's not a knock on Amon, but I feel like he's just a more versatile weapon, and he's so fast. Like you cannot catch that guy. He is so
Yeah, man. I'm talking
fast.
about. Hey, remember last and and with Jameer Gibbs, I'm hoping he gets carried. I'm not worried about maybe they're gonna rehab that motherfucker to
We don't need to
yards.
talk about Gibbs game. We don't need to talk about the Gibbs game
Hey,
in the
I'm talking
last
about,
game
man.
against
After we laid
Minnesota.
him
We
out, I
don't need
thought
to
he was
talk about
done.
that.
I thought he was going to the blue hitting down for the week. That motherfucker jumped up and scored 4 touchdowns, man.
We were hoping that. I mean, I don't root for injury, but I wouldn't have been upset if he wouldn't have come back.
No,
I'll tell you
me
that
neither.
right now.
No, I just wanted him to be done for the game. He could have came back next week. I'm hoping Hargrave knocked the patch out his ass this year, Colin. I'm not lying, bro. Hargrave, that's one strong force that I'm talking about.
I know they're
They
live right
stack
now.
that middle up. I'm telling you, when you in our run game with Jordan Mason, 5.2 yards a carry behind Ryan Kelly. I'm telling you, man. These
Yeah,
Can't
motherfuckers.
rise.
I feel like this. Yeah, I know we lost a couple pieces on this offensive line, but I feel like how strong this line is, it's gonna be able to pick up what we lost, and we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Where do you think is the weakest spot on the Lions, Andre?
Where do I think I don't know.
Okay.
I would
You talking
probably
about
say
on
right guard
offense
just
or
because
defense? Are you
Routledge is a rookie. I mean,
Yep.
I'm here. I'm
Heat,
still here.
Spurs, and Rockets are Kevin Durant. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, they can't do nothing till you feel me. They can't do shit. That's all tampering.
Okay.
Well, Routledge to me, and I'm not saying that he isn't talented, but he's your most unproven guy on a very experienced offensive line. So to
Right.
be determined on Tate Routledge. That would be
Right. I
your
give you
one
that.
spot.
Like I said, it might be a little suspect, but I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
The coaching staff is what I think everybody is kind of looking at right now. Is you don't know what you've got. You would know better than we would, but when you lose a guy like Johnson, when you lose a guy like Glenn, those guys took a lot off of the plate of Dan Campbell, and I think Campbell is really good with the culture. But I feel like those guys did take a lot off of the plate of Dan Campbell. So it's again kind of like Rattlers to be determined to me. And Darren, you're saying what do I expect from McCarthy week one? I expect about 230, a touchdown or two, and we run at least a touchdown or two in,
I
and we
think
pick up the
you
win
know what
against
I
Chicago.
think though the big addition that we added was re-signing Josh Oliver.
I said that earlier. Yeah,
Yeah,
That was
hell
a
I think
yeah.
big that was
Oliver
a
is a.
big a
Oliver
big
to me is a
signing.
very untapped. He's an untapped player. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like
Eh,
they've used him enough. So
I could see KOC go running more two tight end sets, running the ball more.
I mean,
I
you've
agree,
got
Rob. I agree,
to
Rob.
me you've got a guy
Rich.
you've got a guy in
Rich.
Mason who is a much more powerful runner, and it's nothing against Aaron Jones because
Dan
Aaron Jones is
Campbell
a
will
tough runner,
cripple
but
the
he's a small guy.
offense to
He's a
prove
small
he's
guy.
misminded.
He's more our
Can,
finesse. He's more
can
our
I? Can
elusive
I?
guy.
Can I?
And I say
I
that's how we
know
keep him fresh. Go ahead, respond to that. Go ahead.
because I know he's talking about the Lions and stuff, and I want
Obviously,
to.
Dan Campbell.
He's
Go
talking
ahead.
about Dan Campbell, and everybody thinks he's gonna regress because Ben Johnson's gone.
I agree with
But
that statement.
everybody, I don't agree with that statement because
Okay.
I think it was Dan Campbell's playbook that Ben Johnson was running.
I
He
don't know
was
why you keep
caught.
saying that's not true, Serial. I'm not gonna allow you to say that, bro. They built that together, but that's he
They
created
built
that.
it together. Ben Johnson did
Man,
throw some
all
shit
Dan
in
Campbell
there.
was you need to that's
Ben
more
Johnson
Ben
did
Johnson
throw
gets
some
more
shit in
credit.
there.
All Dan Campbell was saying was pick a pass, pick a run. He barely gets any credit if you want it. Only thing I'm gonna give Dan Campbell credit for is when he is aggressive. Sometimes it pays off good for the Lions. Most of the time, like a lot of that fourth.
Campbell to me cost you the Super Bowl
But
2 years ago.
like his fourth down
Campbell
decisions,
cost you the Super Bowl. You guys were up by
yeah.
Or
17
appearance
points,
or
and
appearance in the Super
you
Bowl,
were
because then you don't
on the
know if
road.
they
You
would have
were
won.
on the road. I no, they were up 17. Like
Yes,
when
17 points.
he
Yep.
for as aggressive of a play caller as he is, why didn't he go for the touchdown at the end of the first half of that NFC Championship game? But then he's kicking, then he's going for it on fourth down in the second half when they're up. Like I felt like that's what cost you guys the game. And I know they dropped passes, but you should have kicked the ball. All you had to do was match San Francisco scores, and you walk away. You keep them at a 3-possession clip. That's all you
Why
had to
would
do.
you go for it on 4th and 12 on your own 30 when you're up 17 already?
Yeah, you're just giving San Francisco, you're giving them momentum. You didn't need to, but how much
Went
time
for
we got there?
he went.
How much
We
time
got
we
about
got?
just a few minutes here, and then on top of that,
Okay.
Colin, he went for it how many times? He went for 2 in the end zone, and I guess
What's what he does?
now don't get me wrong,
It's his thing.
that
But
was a good one.
Andre,
It was
what
a
did you
call,
think
Josh.
about that? What did you think about that NFC Championship game? How are you feeling during that?
I'm
How do
telling
I
you,
feel about it? I
Yeah,
agree with you. I agree with you, Dan Campbell. He called some, him or Ben Johnson called some horrible plays. But Jared Goff cost us that game. If you go back and you look at Jared Goff's stats, he was not elite in this. He did not perform. Not saying he was elite, but he did not perform in the second half.
Yeah.
And
so
yes,
you're putting it
Brock
on
Purdy.
Goff. Okay.
Yet the defense did give
did you
up, and
want him to
Brock
play
Purdy,
corner?
huh?
Did you want him to play safety? Brock Purdy dotted your goddamn
I
son
give
out.
you that. I give you that. But Goff had the chance to close the game out,
He
and
could have scored more
he
points.
folded. He
He could at least got
folded.
in field goal range with the lead y'all had. I give you that.
Yes.
Ben Johnson
If
revenge
you would
tour
have
can't
stayed
get
up,
to
if
him.
you'd have saved up 3 possessions, they would have. I mean,
I
at that
agree.
point, when you're up that big, all you have to do is pretty much hold serve the rest of the game.
And some
That's all you
bullshit
had to
happened
No,
in
do.
that game. Some shit I never seen. I'm 31. I never seen the shit that happened.
I said Ben Johnson.
Listen,
Hey, that may be true. No, we got to end this soon, guys. It says Ben Johnson revenge tours begins week 2. That might be true, but I'm telling you right now,
Ben Johnson's getting
he's
his
gonna
ass
split with
whooped in Detroit.
That's fine, but he's gonna split with the Lions this year.
And
I
he's
I don't know
think
getting
so
where.
too.
swept.
I think
He's
so
getting
They're
too.
going to be
swept.
0 2.
Hey, we got what
He's
Ben
getting
85
Johnson's going to be
viewers
swept.
in here.
0 2.
He's
Shout out to
getting
the
swept.
85 viewers in
Ben
here, man.
Johnson's getting swept by this whole division.
I
Fuck
already
are you
know
talking about?
John Dorn is in here
I
on 2
believe it.
accounts trying to get my motherfucking
Ben
thoughts.
Johnson will get swept by this whole division.
No,
Okay.
that's
Wouldn't
a dumb
stop me.
statement. That's a dumb statement. And anybody that thinks the Lions are going to sweep the North again, report to my inbox with your goddamn bet. And I'm telling you right now, if you
Add me,
keep
Skull.
Well, no,
everybody,
he was just, no, I think Andre was just saying that Ben Johnson's going to get swept by the division as the Bears coach. I
yeah,
think
no,
that's what he was saying.
that's not a smart statement to make. I don't believe either. I
You
don't
don't think the
believe
Bears
so.
are going to get swept? I don't know.
By the whole division, no, I
Where did
don't.
No.
where did they get better? I
It's
mean,
not
they
about them
brought
getting
in a
better.
guy who got cut by Detroit. They got brought in a guy in Joe Thuney who got made to look like a fool against Philly with a 4-man rush, and they brought in a guy in Drew Dahlman who, because of PFF grades, which I think are the dumbest things in the world, is considered the best free
I'm
agent
gonna tell
center.
you.
But Kirk Cousins got killed. He got knocked out of like
Let-
3
But
Yeah.
games.
but if they boosted
So,
that lineup, you got to think he was hit 80 times last year. This is
well,
what I'm
maybe
thinking.
they did. I don't know. I think the Vikings did a better job of bolstering their offensive
Oh,
line than
way
the
goddamn better.
He
Bears
did.
did.
He
But
did.
he made those moves right away. This is what I'm telling you. He's gonna get into Dan Campbell's head one of those games, bro. Trust me. He's gonna get it. I'm telling you, he's gonna prove who's the mastermind. Because man, Campbell, he's gonna overthink it. He's gonna try to
Still the
overdo it.
Chicago Bears, though. It's still the
He's gonna try
Chicago
to
Bears.
overdo it, man. Even if they're 1-5, they're beating the Lions once this year. We gotta get out of here, guys. And I'm telling you right now, I'm paying attention. Just like last year, I'm taking screenshots. Everybody that's just disrespecting Jesse McCarthy and hating on this kid for no reason. I
Right.
don't mind you doubting him because he is a rookie and all that, football talk. But if you're just disrespecting him and you're clowning him and you're just riding him a little too hard and you're a rival, I'm taking notice and I will be at your doorstep. And Richard Tunney knows how to wrestle,
Taking
and
receipts.
I can box.
Richard, add my new page, Richard.
Oh, what?
Skull for life, man.
Oh,
Fuck every
yeah,
other team
yes, yeah.
around.
Message
Yeah.
me, message me, Andre.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.